Okay. How about you guys ask the questions? My introductions haven't gone over too well lately.
Howie, when you traded up for Cooper DeJean, I think there were 3 or 4 cornerbacks that came up here right after that. Do you get a sense as the draft's going along that we have to get up there because we smell a run coming?
Yeah, and I think really when you get to the start of a day, and I think that the second day and the third day are different than the first day, obviously. You get a sense just overnight and being around your people about, what you're really passionate about. And there's not a lot of secrets in this anymore. Everyone's got the same information. I remember being in Alabama one year with Ozzie Newsome, and he said, everyone knows the guy. There's nobody you're drafting today, tomorrow, that somebody's going to look up and go, who is that guy? Everyone's got that information. So it's just really your order of preference. And so when you get to a day like today and certain guys stick out, you want to go get those guys. And for us, Cooper was a consideration yesterday, and we thought one of the best defensive players in the draft, and obviously we took a guy that we loved as well yesterday. And so we made a concerted effort to try to go get him. And really excited to add him and his skill set to our team.
He said that you guys talked to him about all 3 positions. Obviously, the versatility that he brings was one of his hallmarks in college.
Is it versatility?
Versatility. Does you? Sorry, that's fine. That's fair. Do you have a preference watching him, and when he comes in here, what position he'll play?
Yeah, I mean, he's one of these. He's such just a good player, and I think whatever he does, he's going to do it at a high level. Obviously, we'll get him in here, and like everything else on this team, we'll see how the pieces fit when coach and his staff get their hands on these guys.
Nick, how do you figure out the balance with a player that has that kind of versatility, with using that but not like overwhelming him when he gets here?
Yeah, it all depends on the player. It all depends on the defense that we're at, the different positions we're asking them to learn. Not every guy that has versatility. Not every position on defense is obviously the same thing. A way to learn it. So you figure that out as you go. But we also know this guy has high football IQ, and we'll see what he can handle, and and see where he falls.
Howie, you were here. You weren't GM, but you were here in 2002 when the Eagles drafted Lito and Sheldon.
And Michael
Lewis as well. I just wonder if, that obviously, at the time it seemed crazy because Bobby and Troy were really good, but obviously in the long run it worked out. I wonder how much that was on your mind.
Yeah, I think we're all a product of our experiences, and I saw obviously those guys played for us in the Super Bowl, and I think that Coach Reed has always done a great job of being a year ahead, and I think that's one of the lessons that I got to learn from him, working with him, for him. And so I think from our perspective, obviously that's always in the back of the mind when we're making picks. But at the forefront of it is guys who can help the football team right now. We think we're a good team, and we're trying to do whatever we can to help the football team.
In the scenarios during the week, was he ever someone that you discussed in the first round?
He was a first round player for us, and Jeffrey said this tonight. It's rare for us to be picking in the 20s and to get 2 first round players, and both those guys were first round players for us, and we didn't have 32 first round guys, so when you get that opportunity to get 2 first round guys, especially picking where we were, we felt like it was an opportunity, and it was obviously an area that we wanted to address. We felt like we addressed a lot of areas of our football team through free agency, but that was one area that we could address, and there are a couple more areas that we'd like to address here, and I think that's one of the reasons we try to accumulate picks, at the end of the day today is to try to see if we can accumulate some of those players tomorrow.
What was the rationale? What was the rationale for trading back twice? Did you think you could get Jalyx at 94 as opposed to 78?
I don't know. Every time DJ's best available came on, I got a little worried. My guy over there. It's like you think you get a guy from Houston Christian, and nobody's gonna know. It goes to kind of the point. Obviously everyone knew him. He was at the Senior Bowl, but I think for us, the values were good. Those were good trades for obviously those teams who wanted the players, and we felt like they were for us. And what we were trying to accomplish here in the third and fourth round. You know, when we looked at our boards, we thought that we'll be able to, that's kind of a good portion of the draft for us. We like where that draft is tomorrow, and we think we're going to get an opportunity to add some good players tomorrow in the fourth and fifth round.
When you look at Cooper,
I'll
when you look
get
at
you.
Cooper on the outside, what do you see? I mean, by all counts, he's very good at it.
Yeah. Well, again, I mean, the guy's got every tool in his body. He's an elite athlete. He's an elite competitor. You know, he's done really everything on the football field. I mean, we haven't even talked about his ability to return and make key plays. And, you know, you get a chance, you talk to people at Iowa, and they talk about how legendary of a player, of a career that this guy's had, and his ability to make big plays in big moments of the game. You know, obviously that Minnesota play, that punt return that got called back. John Ferrari says that he's going to talk to him about his fair catch if he gets a chance to punt return. You know, and I think you even saw it, you know, his freshman year. They were in the bowl game, and Wan'Dale Robinson caught the ball and he tackled him down from the other side of the field. Like, he's just got football instincts. You know, he's just you know, he's the type of guy that wherever you put him, he's going to play really well. He's got great character, and we're just excited to add him.
Howie, did you go in this draft thinking defense?
No, you know, I don't think that we did. You know, we went into this draft feeling like that we had an opportunity to kind of stick to our board. I think that during the first round, it seemed pretty obvious to us that it was going to pay off being patient. I think that we woke up today and felt like it would pay off being a little bit aggressive. And then when we came in the third round and saw where the board was and took some phone calls, we felt like it was to our advantage to kind of move down and try to accumulate picks for tomorrow. So I think, you know, you can go in with a plan, but because you're subject to so many other teams and what they're going to do, you have to be able to adjust and see what's going on and be able to do that kind of on your feet. And luckily we got great staff and great people in that draft room, and we're able to communicate and kind of come up with a plan that maybe kind of was different than when we walked into the draft room. But, you know, I think for us, I think it's a good start. It's hard for me, again, we talked about this last night, to really see the clear picture until we finish tomorrow and kind of see how it all shapes out. I felt like, you know, just like looking at last year, I felt like the third day really solidified, feeling good about the draft class, and so we've got a lot of work ahead of us tomorrow.
Jalyx is a very limited experience playing edge rusher, you know, to convert from a safety. What gives you guys the confidence that he can become an NFL caliber edge rusher?
Yeah, I mean, he's got freaky tools in his body. You know, he's an explosive guy. I mean, if you watch his best plays, he's doing things that are unique. He can bend, he can close, he can finish. He's long. He's an extremely smart kid, obviously, coming from Cornell. You know, and we feel like we got a good edge rush group. You know, he doesn't have to come in here and, you know, we're going to develop him like we talk about. This is a perfect developmental guy for us because of the tools in his body and his character and his work ethic, and we think we can really find something with him. But that's on us. That's on how he's going to work. And, you know, you can say, you know, well, that's the third round, and you're a good team. Why are you doing that? Because these guys are hard to find, and we believe in the edge rushers, and we just felt like there was a tremendous buy-in from our staff about this player. Obviously, from the coaching staff, from the front office, we thought this guy had tremendous tools. So when you get guys like that, it's exciting to see what they can become. And again, we feel like we like our edge group. We didn't have to add there. But it's exciting to get a guy like this.
That's a couple players now, Howie, from smaller programs that you've drafted so far, which is seems like a departure from recent philosophy anyway. So what's the reason for that?
They're the best players. You know, I don't think that. I think that it's. You know, the SEC guys are playing against great competition. I think these were kind of two extenuating circumstances because of the particular guys. Probably wouldn't say it's going to be a trend.
You mentioned the Senior Bowl setting. You mentioned the Senior Bowl with Jalyx.
I thought Zach had a question for you.
Yeah, I defer to
No, but give Nick a question.
No, it's okay. Go ahead. I answered plenty of those during the season.
I want to be the arm candy.
All right, for Nick, it's our first time asking you about the kickoff rule changes. How has what you're looking for changed there? And is that a place where people can contribute?
Yeah, it's a good question, Zach. Obviously, we spent a lot of time working on that myself, Coach Clay, the special team staff, even the defense and offensive coaches, without giving too much into it. Obviously, game one, I know there'll be some things in preseason. I'm assuming that there's not going to be a lot of people showing what they're going to do. So game one, we got to hold some of our secrets till then. But, obviously Cooper is very versatile, and not only the things that he can do on defense, but also on special teams. We've all seen all those plays that he's made as a returner. So, he'll factor into it, but we got a long way to go before we're at that point, and we need to show that. But we're excited about him on this football team, not only as a defense player, but as a special teams player as well.
You mentioned the Senior Bowl for Jalyx. Is that kind of when he got on your radar? And I guess what's the scouting process like for a player from a school that's small?
No, our guys do a great job of getting guys on the radar. The first time he was on my radar was in August. These guys, they take a couple weeks off after the draft, and they get right back on spring scouting, so that by the time that we come back from training camp, they do a tremendous job of setting the table for me. They know that I do a lot of work in August during training camp when, we got practices, there's no preseason games. It's a great chance for me to get a head start on the class before things get real busy, and you have roster cuts and you get the season. And so, when I come back here in July, they'll have, 400 reports in the system. And, he was right away, our guys saw him and saw that this guy had unique talent for a small school guy. And then through the process, he kind of rose, and just watching him there, our guys were there, I was not there, but obviously watching the tape and then getting a chance to sit down with him. And then we brought him in here to get with, our support staff as well and our performance staff, and to kind of see really where we could grow him a little bit so he could get a head start if we got him in. And meet with the defensive coaching staff. And so, he's an interesting guy, for sure. And those guys are hard to find, and so we're excited to work with them.
With a player like that, is it kind of difficult to figure out where you can land them in the draft?
Yeah, it is. I think that I think this is one of the guys that you start to hear a lot of buzz on him. We do all these mock drafts, and you started seeing his names in the second round and the third round. And, I think it starts out with a guy you're going, all right, maybe I can get this guy in the third day. And then you start seeing a bunch of mock drafts with his name in it in the second and third round. And then, you start seeing DJ's list and stuff like that. And so then you realize, that there are no more secrets. So, I think for us, obviously, we took some chances because we were picking at 78. We moved back. I think we went to 86. We moved back. And then I think right in between those picks, I think, that's when DJ's big board came on the screen, and it was like best available, and he was like the third guy. And I wanted to text him and tell him to delete that. But I don't think he'd listen to me at this point. But, I think for us, then it was just like, we didn't want to get cute. We wanted to develop the player. And, I think one of our scouts, after we picked him, said, man, where can this guy be in 2 years? What kind of pass rusher? We believe he's got an ability to be one of these small school rushers that really can ascend. And we obviously feel like we got the right coaches and the right support system.
In terms of Cooper James' personality and his makeup.
I'll do you guys. I'll overrule Bob.
I usually do that too. Make him the bad guy.
I know.
Yeah,
That's great.
Nice.
That's great. Sorry, Bob. Sorry. Don't be mad at me.
In terms of DeJean's makeup, how much did you do on him? This is a kid that was like a Mr. Iowa and barely got a big college scholarship.
I was pretty big time football.
What's that?
I was pretty big time.
But I think it was the only one he really had an offer from. I think Sam Houston State was the other one. How did that?
Houston Christian.
How did that affect him, and what did you find out about him, and how he was able to kind of preserve through that? And then he just said even yesterday, he was a little frustrated by not going in the first round.
He's how do I say this in a non-insulting way? He's determined. I had another one. You knew where I was going, but wouldn't have worked. No. He is a determined guy, and I think this guy, he is all ball all the time. When he came in here, you know, it's like you see him in his one-track mind. How am I going to improve at football? How am I going to work at football? And I think that our fans are going to love this guy. I think this guy's got an incredible skill set. And, you know, I know just from talking to a bunch of my friends in the league after we made the trade, you know, it was like, I think most of the league thought this guy would go yesterday, you know, and I think that there are opportunities, and sometimes you're picking between two guys, and, you know, you pick a guy and then the guy kind of just falls because of the draft order. But, you know, he certainly was one of the guys when we were going over scenarios that we would have considered at 22, depending how the board went, and would have been really excited to get him. So obviously we made a trade here with a team in our division. Probably, you know, didn't win on any of those charts that are going on the internet for sure, but we felt like it was the right thing to do for us and our team.
You mentioned that ability to reset after day one, day two, pause a little bit with day three coming up. You do so much work on this thing, but whether it's going up to get Cooper today, Keeley last year, that overnight, how much can things change?
Well, we don't change grades, you know. That's one of the things that we were upstairs, you know, Jeffrey certainly won't let us change grades just because of a need or anything like that. That's like the scenarios. He makes sure we stay true to our process, but it's about passion, you know. At this point, you write up so many guys, you have so many grades on so many players, like who are you passionate about? Who do we really want on this team? And let's go get that guy. Or when we're in a position to pick, when you look at the board, it's vertical, it's horizontal. And when you look at from a horizontal perspective, even though the grades are the same, you know, you're at this point in the draft, you're not looking at positions. You're going, who are we really passionate about? Who do we really think can develop into a player that is really going to make a difference on and off the field for our team? And so that's what I mean, you know. So we did that a little bit. We got more time, obviously, last night, going into today, and coming in the office and discussing that. It's a quicker turnaround tomorrow, so we did that a little bit here at the end of the draft. We'll go back up a little bit now. We'll think about it. We'll kind of sleep on some things. And then we got a great meeting tomorrow at 10 o'clock tomorrow. We'll bring in all the scouts. We'll bring in the coordinators, and we'll just have a passion meeting, you know, and we'll just say, you know, to the scouts, you guys, you work your ass off all year. Tell us right now who you think you want to put your name on. Again, like obviously you scouted these guys, but right now we got these picks. Tell us and speak about them. You know, you got a chance. Jeffrey's in there. Nick's in there. And so you do that, and you know, it's probably one of the best meetings we have all year. You know, and it's not as much fun when we have two picks. We've had that, and I think it'll be really fun tomorrow for our guys to do that.
On the broadcast, they said that Jalyx was a favorite of DeJean. What was his input and the influence?
Yeah, we include our coaches in the whole process. You know, obviously we don't give them guys that we don't like. You know, that's never been something that I thought made any sense. You know, to go, hey, we don't really like this guy, but what do you think? Because, you know, obviously that puts us in a bad spot. So we only give them guys, and I think Coach Fangio had a lot of guys in this draft that he liked. I think obviously when you're developing a small school guy, you want buy-in from the coordinator and the position coach. So Coach Fangio, Coach Washburn obviously had a chance. We brought him here, meet him. Coach Wash went and worked him out, and all those things that they really help give us answers to the test. You know, when we're able to get our hands on guys and work them out privately, or bring them in here and see how they react to this atmosphere. How they react to coaching, especially the small school guys, it helps you complete the process better than otherwise. So in this case, we had an opportunity to do that with Jalyx, and made us feel better about the pick. Sometimes you do that too, and all of a sudden, guys get a little bit too excited, and it's like, no, we're still keeping them in the same spot on the board. But I think that's fair to say. Obviously, there was some excitement about this player from all levels of the organization. Thanks, guys. We'll see you tomorrow night.